Humans are weird, let's work it out. Something fishy. The beginning of the humans' noonday meal was always announced with a subdued rumble as the massive bipeds walked eagerly towards the cafeteria from their respective workstations. Though the various work schedules meant that the eating area was never overly crowded nor completely empty, the circadian synchronization of the mammals shared meant that the first rush around the solar peak of the day was always impressive. Twistunder swam along the flowway and popped up into the cafeteria in time for his usual browsing. The amber algae strains on this planet were sadly underdeveloped thanks to the weak sun, and he had always had an irrational dislike of the green algae. He knew as well as anyone that the lower protein content was easily offset by simply browsing a little more mass, but amber was his favorite. He was prodding listlessly at the limp mass of amber algae, amber in name only. It was actually a sickly yellow that one of the humans had referred to as baby poo yellow, and wondered if the next shipment of artificial lights would have the necessary power to stimulate something approaching an attractive hue, when he heard a familiar step amid the cacophony of human steps. Twistunder immediately perked up. That was human friend Mac, or he was greatly mistaken. Even the limp and pale amber algae wouldn't be so distressing when eating with a friend. It was more for Mac's presence than any specific nutrient schedule of his own that Twistunder had chosen the chaotic hour for gathering sustenance. He was about to twist the annoying green algae around his appendages. The one benefit was that it did transport better, when an idea nudged him from the side. There, beside the algae growths, was a set of tongs and a cluster of carrying bags. These were hardly things you would find in an eating location back home. They were a concession to the far more advanced social immunity behaviors of the other species. From humans to hellbats, every other species, save the gathering, had issues with someone bringing them food and nothing but their appendages. While one could find the occasional human who would accept a bundle of algae one had been carrying tucked up near your core, the humans in particular didn't like the idea of body parts touching their food, even their own body parts to some degree. It was odd, but that was how it was. They did, however, appreciate food brought to them in the sterile carrying containers. Twistunder quickly calculated the mass of green algae that would equal half of a tuna fish sandwich. He recalled human friend Mac mentioning that he was going to be eating his own prepared food rather than the cafeteria-provided protein, an Earth delicacy he had been willing to share with Twistunder on previous occasions. Tuna fish, removed from the indigestible carbohydrate casing, wasn't amber algae, but it was far better than green. Fortunately, for Twistunder's purposes, human friend Mac rather liked the fibrous nature of the green algae. He called it sea celery. The human also usually forgot to procure his own required fiber allotment. Musing happily over this, Twistunder quickly swam to the airlock and popped out onto the floor. "Undulate underfoot!" the nearest human hollered. There was a general shuffling of feet as humans located him and arranged themselves for mutual safety. Several of them muttered greetings, but most were focused on their food. Twistunder easily reached the table human friend Mac had chosen and shimmied up the central post and scrambled onto the service. "Twist!" human friend Mac greeting him, inclining the focus of his head in Twistunder's direction. "Greetings, human friend Mac!" Twistunder said, dropping the carrying container of algae down on the table in a way he hoped would draw human friend Mac's attention to it. "What's up?" human friend Mac asked. "I was wishing to exchange, rather swap, my algae for your tuna fish today," Twistunder started. "Sure thing, little bud," human friend Mac said. He reached his hand to where the sandwich sat wrapped in a clear hydrocarbon sheath, but his fingers paused over the sandwich and his face contorted into a thoughtful frown. "On second thought, better not," human friend Mac said slowly. "Very well," Twistunder said as he regretfully started to pull the algae out of the bag. "Do you require all the fish fats today?" "Nah," human friend Mac said, shaking his head. "This sandwich has just been in the fridge too long. Its own personal biome is getting a little too developed for me to just let you eat it. Too risky." "How can you tell?" Twistunder asked with interest. "Well," human friend Mac said, 3 days is the general limit, and it does smell funny." In demonstration, the human lifted it to his nose and grimaced. "I sound you," Twistunder said. "Are you going to dispose?" Twistunder cut off as human friend Mac shifted the sandwich and took a large bite of it. "Pardon?" Twistunder said, making sure to put confusion in his tone. Didn't you just say that the bacterial load on that sandwich was too high for consumption? Or did I misunderstand? Too high for you, a human friend Max said. I have a cast iron stomach. Twistender could have replied that given the acidic nature of human stomachs, fabricating them out of cast iron would be a negative situation on many levels, but he recognized the implication of strength and resigned himself to the green algae. He chatted easily with human friend Mac for the next half hour. Human friend Mac, Twistender said as he was about halfway done with the stringy green algae, may I ask why you are so dramatically changing emotional displays on your skin? Your voice doesn't indicate any distress. Am I? Human friend Mac asked, glancing down at his hand. The display is centered on your face, Twistender said. It seems to be a general distress display. Human friend Mac pulled out his compass and flipped it open to look at his face. He frowned and examined it from several angles before glancing around and selecting a human female Twistender was not familiar with to address. Hey, Frankie, human friend Mac called out. Twist says I look funny. Do you see anything? The woman glanced at him and frowned. You are a little pale, she said with concern. Are you feeling all right? I'm fine, human friend Max said with a frown. Fit as a fiddle, but if you and Twist agree, maybe... Suddenly his voice was interrupted by a low gurgling sound from his middle. Human friend Max's entire body suddenly gave a tight convulsion, and his hand flew up to clamp over his mouth as the colors on his face changed from mildly concerning to dramatically warning. What's wrong? Human coworker Frankie demanded. Tuna fish! Mac explained as he turned and rushed from the room. Bathroom! Twistender stared after his friend in concern, and Frankie gave a prolonged sigh. Did he eat a questionable sandwich? She asked. He did, Twistender confirmed. Is he in danger? Nothing serious, human coworker Frankie said with a shrug. No human has died from bad tuna in like a century. Just a little stupidity-induced suffering in his immediate future. He said his stomach was made of cast iron, Twistender offered. He would, human coworker Frankie said with a shrug. Humans are weird, let's work it out. Available on Indiegogo for the month of October 2022. Monty Python meets Star Trek in this third book of human absurdity. This book joins its two siblings in a trilogy of human madness. You can find the first two books, author-signed first editions, at Indiegogo with book 3, or you can go on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever books are available to get your copies of the first two books. Humans Are Weird, Let's Work It Out, Book 3 in the series, available on Indiegogo, October 2022.